we're cutting a plan. So I'm going to go to my building levels in my tree here and select level 1. Now you may be thinking, you know, plan is typically taken above the floor level. Well, we can set that. I also want to select the axis. So I'm going to expand the geometrical set 1 and find my absolute axis system. There it is, right there. Now the offset, we can set that as an offset from the ground floor. So in this case, I'm going to do -4 feet, and that's going to go up since my direction is facing down. I need to do -4 feet. You'll notice a button. Sometimes people miss this button in the upper right. But if you click this button, it basically flips on and off a clipping view and gives you a display of where the cutting will actually occur in the model. So that's just to verify for visual purposes. I'm going to click that off. And everything else is basically fine. When it's cutting through solid objects, generally a hatching is created. If we want to remove that hatching, we want to click that option to remove generated patterns. If you don't want to show hatching in the when you generate the drawings. And then everything else is fine. We click OK. And then in just a few seconds or so, there should be a generated view. Now, of course, depending on the size of your model, this could take a little longer. I want to point out one thing is that these, with these architecture and structures objects, there's some things that are done that are pretty smart when generating the drawings. One is that the separate wall elements. If you notice in the model, the walls are separate elements, and so you'd imagine in the drawing that you'd see lines dividing those walls, like say this corner, for instance. But if you look in the generated drawing, you notice that that's automatically removed, so that we have a perfectly clean outline of the drawing. So it's cutting through the solid wall, and it removes all of the joints between the wall elements. It also places tags automatically. So for the windows and the doors, we already have tags generated, and this comes from the IFC standard attributes that we set for these windows and doors. So that information comes through the drawing. Also, if we look in the 3D view, we can actually see the generated drawing in the 3D view, which is kind of helpful to understand where this drawing is being generated and cut. So now we have a plan view. Let's say we want to overlay a view of the beams, which in this case would be like a reflected ceiling plan of the beams overlaid with this drawing. So I'm going to go back to the section tool that we used before. And in this case, I'm going to call it RCP. And I'm going to, just like before, I'm going to select the level 1 for support and our absolute axis system for the axis. And I'll do the same offset, in this case -4 feet. The only difference in terms of creating an RCP, reflected ceiling plan, is we need to set this category, GVS, which stands for Generated View Styles. we need to set that to RCP. So that's basically telling the visual project to run a script that generates the reflected ceiling plan drawing. So I want to click, in this case I'm going to select Automatic Dress Up Off and click OK. And what's basically doing is generating a plan looking up, but because it's going to be a mirrored view of the current plan we have, it needs to then take that drawing and mirror it, relocate the origin point so that this reflected ceiling plan lines up with our plan drawing. So now you should see in the 2D view that you have your plan view section cut and an RCP view cut. If I wanted to, I could move any one of those views. I just have to double-click it in the tree, make sure it's selected, and then I can drag it anywhere I want to place it on the sheet. If I wanted to take, let's say I wanted to take this reflected ceiling plan view and change the lines. So all I need to do, in this case I'm just going to drag it off to the side here, and then click and drag select all the lines in that view. And now if I right click and go to Properties, I want to switch to the Graphic tab here. You'll see that there are options for setting the line type. So in this case, I'm going to make the line type dotted. And maybe I'll change the thickness to a really thin line. So just click OK. So now all the RCP lines are dotted. Now let's say I want to line this view back up with the plan view. All I need to do is right-click this reflected ceiling plan view and go to View Positioning, and then click the Superpose. And this is going to basically allow me to superpose the current view. And if I just click that and then select the plan view, it'll snap it right over because they both share the same origin point. All right, and the last drawing I want to generate is a section view of the model. So I'm going to go back to Tile Vertically. And you'll see if we go back, we now have the both the RCP view and the plan view in our 3D here. So I'm also going to use, for the third time, I'm going to use that section view tool. Before I click it, I want to show you under Geometric Set 1, if I unhide that for a second, you'll see that the there's a plane here called plane.30. That's just a plane I created that's a vertical plane. Maybe if I highlight it there, it's a little easier to see. So it's just a vertical plane going down the center of the model, and I'm going to use that as support for cutting a section of the model. So I'm going to go back and hide that again. That's kind of important that you hide what you don't want to see in the drawing, because when it goes to generate the drawing, it's going to cut whatever is currently visible. So let me go back and tile vertically. I'm going to select that section view tool again, and I'll call this 2 under name, and support, if you recall, just looked at plane 30, it's a vertical plane. So I'm going to select that, and you can see right away in what direction it's going to be cutting right? So that yellow arrow is the eye view, and